we skipped over was we were going to do breakout rooms. Daya, can you make us some breakout rooms to meet each other?
Yep, I have the breakout rooms.
And what's our prompt? What class do we teach? Was our prompt?
We can discuss research opportunities for community colleges to have a perfect leeway from the presentation.
Wait, sorry, I don't think I can record and do breakout rooms at the same time.
Yeah, it unrecords once you do breakout rooms.
Yep.
Our superiors declined it. So currently, we have a thriving PhD program. We do quite well. We are looking to install an undergraduate degree. Can I go to the next slide? Okay, and we are a statistics program in an engineering school, one of only about 5 in engineering research schools nationwide. And that makes a few challenges. But as we do this undergraduate statistics major and install this, we wanted 2 tracks. 1, classical statistics, if anybody still wants that, and 2, data science. If approved, this major will commence in a few years. Probably we've at least got 2 more before it would get going. The program that we have put forth is essentially a mix of statistics and computer science courses. We do allow a lot of different electives, trying to get the full spirit of the data science initiative. So if you want to study languages or something, national processing languages, we welcome that as well, biology, finance. So we're trying to be inclusive on this. As we construct this undergraduate statistics majors, well, next slide, please. I think so. We're a small department to begin with. We have about 9 research faculty. This request will probably give us, if honored, another 4 or so research faculty, and the computer science faculty are also going to need to expand. Now, in UCSC, it's a little bit weird. I'm in an engineering school, but we do not have civil engineering. We do not have mechanical engineering. And so people aren't talking PDs and stuff like that unless you're in the applied math department. It is heavily Silicon Valley based computers, both hardware and software. We do have a playable games, computer games department, which we call computational media. But the degree, as far as we can tell, is going to require about 5 additional faculty. We're going to start small, no more than 100 students. It's going to require that we develop about 5 new undergraduate statistical courses. And I'm expecting arguments even on the graduate level from the computer science department over how we teach machine learning and what goes into these types of courses. But we do plan on even revising some of our graduate courses, and we're going to start small. So that's what's going on here. The plan is somewhat embryonic right now. We are in talks with computer science next week to try to get joint buy-in with the departments, and then we'll put forth a proposal that will probably take a few months to make, and then we're talking another year through the academic senate, and then another year till onset.
Anybody got questions?
I do have a question about the involvement of the computer science department. Are you thinking that some of those classes would be applicable to this degree?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. In fact, required classes will be out of the CS. And one thing that's true about our computer science is they are the most overworked departments on the university. So they are very reluctant to take on new students. But yes, actually, we don't even want to consider starting this program without buy-in from computer science. So yes, Eric.
Yeah.
Hi, Robert. I was wondering how you're selling this to the administration, or if you like what response you've gotten so far in terms of like hiring additional faculty to make it happen.
Well, the hiring is always testy, but in essence, administration, when the data science proposal 5 years ago was turned down, lately administration has come to us and said, hey, you need to be putting data science in this. And, you know, it would be very, very easy to say, well, we already tried to do this. We were ahead 5 years ago when we should have been doing this, but it didn't get granted. Okay. So, you know, what do we say? We're here now. It's being driven by administration. Now, the faculty lines of that we need to be promised to do this is a big deal because my department is also overworked. Engineering is probably the most overworked in terms of FTE department on the university. And I'm in we're not as bad as computer science, but we're also have some of the higher workloads and we need the bodies. 100 students, 5 new classes. We figure, you know, a new faculty teaches 3 classes a year, but we need advising capability and other things. So, yeah, ask me this again, Clark, in 6 months, and I think I could give you a better report, but it's mission critical. Anything else I can answer? I'm happy to.
Okay, we look forward to your keeping track of how it's going.
All right.
Abel from UC Santa Cruz has come to a lot of these meetings, and Nargis, who used to be at Santa Cruz. So we have some other points of overlap.
Well, you know, Abel is now at Washington.
Right.
Okay. And yes, I know Nargis very well. I think she's here.
Yep, she's here.
Yeah,
She's saying
I'm
she's
here.
waving.
Good seeing you.
There she is. Good to see you.
All right. Awkwardly, it's me on the agenda again. I just wanted to put the word out there that we're starting to plan for our workshop next summer. That's a big place that we do convening. There is a registration form to sign up. There's definitely a focus on folks like this in this meeting. Like, this is who we want to come to the meeting. Definitely a long history of community college instructors excited about starting data science. This year, it will be in person in Berkeley for 4 days, June 20 to 23. Usually there's like a little bit of just like, you're new to this, what do you need to know? And then there's some panels, of which CADSE's always been a panel. So please circulate this, let anybody that you think, you know, send it around. You know, anybody who you think would benefit from this, please share. And just putting it out there to the collective. So we usually have one session on CADSE where we, you know, talk. Last year it was definitely like how to collaborate intersegmentally, and we had Lark Park from Community College Foundation and Dolores Davidson, who was the head of CID. So those were two, like, you know, people making things happen in the area that we were in conversation with. You know, there's a potential to add more CADSE or like more like structured panels. Like we could do a panel just about community colleges. We could do maybe integrate it with the California Learning Lab grantees. There's about, you know, 10 to 15 projects. So we'll be getting California Learning Lab grants maybe around this time. It might be too early to organize it, but we could also like use this as a way to facilitate, you know, kick off those conversations in those groups and those collaborations. And then finally, like, is there something that would be good to like workshop or do hands-on or do something that's like, you know, collaborative and interactive, like, you know, teaching demos or something like Anthony's, like highlight student discovery project work. So we're totally open. This is just a part where the agenda hasn't been set yet. So if you're interested, or if you have ideas, get in touch with me. In the registration form, there's a space to say what you're interested in, but please just reach out to me. I'll be reaching out to a few people who've been to the conference before. So I just want to say, circulate this, tell people about it. And if you want to have input on what panels we have in this space, get in touch with me. Any questions on that? Okay. All right, so I want to move into sort of like the more substance of this and bring Solomon Russell up. We have 4 different community colleges that are going to talk about their certificates and associate's degrees that they're building. I think in the slideshow, El Camino's first.
Great. Thanks, Eric. Solomon Russell from El Camino College. So we are in the process of developing a certificate for data science, certificate of achievement in data science. It should be launched, if everything goes well with the curriculum committee, this month. In a couple of days. We will have it available in fall 2023 for students, although no students will be able to have it in 2023 since we have a list of courses. So what we've done for El Camino is that we've developed 3 classes that are really geared around data science. There's the CS8 course, which is just like Data 8. Surprisingly so, has all the same material. We also have a CS9 class, which is going to be very similar in some way to UC San Diego's DSC 80, maybe also elements from Data 100, anything that's applicable to community college students. And then this course is really a follow-on to CS8. We are going to be
maybe your doctoral dissertation?
That may be my doctoral dissertation, may be on this. And yes, Eric may be on my committee. And then also a communications course, which is modeled after a UC Santa Barbara's course, which involves data and then also communication, being able to make infographics and yeah, it's very closely aligned with statistics. Great. Next slide. Okay, and this is just a visual description of how we're thinking about the project. So in the box in the middle is what would be required for our data science students that are going to get their certificate. There's really at the very top line a programming track. Underneath there is the data science track of foundations of data science, and then also that follow-on course where students will be introduced to some things that they may not see that they won't see in the Data 8 course, like databases, and then also to some extent, the entire data science lifecycle. And then we have the statistics at the very bottom, which also is also has as an option that communications course that we talked about before. One really important thing is this course before it as well. It's a CS Principles course that we offer that is basically the AP Computer Science Principles course that the College Board offers. So we've noticed that in the first semester when we taught it, and some other semesters, that students that had no computing experience and then they jumped straight into Data 8 were at a disadvantage with those students that already had programmed. So to be able to recommend this course to students that maybe are coming out of high school that didn't have an introduction to data science course that's offered as a course from UCLA. But this, I think, is a great way to try to get students so that they are prepared. What I also like about this track is with the data science, if there's someone who's coming back to school instead of doing a boot camp and they were a science major, they can maybe just take the Data Science 1 and Data Science 2 course and have some type of like foundation to maybe go out there and start applying for things. CS majors would only have to take maybe 3 other courses, the data science courses and a statistics course, and math majors would maybe have to take 4 courses. So there's some flexibility in there. And I'm done. Any questions? Quick. Okay. Thank you. Eric,
When
you're
is
muted.
data science 9 getting, CS9 getting taught?
Oh, I was just talking about that earlier today. Somebody tried to get me to teach it in fall, which I was like, I don't know if that's going to be doable. So the earliest we're looking at is spring 2024, possibly fall, but
Okay.
yeah.
So that's the only one that's a new class that you're adding out of all.
Yeah, that will be the new course that we're adding. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. It's helpful. I like this part too, where you're like CS majors, how many extra classes to get their certificate. It's helpful. It's a helpful mapping, like if someone's in an existing major.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So Johnny.
Hello.
Or Kyla. Who's up?
We're both up, but I'm going to take
Yay.
the lead. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Johnny Williams from Laney College in Oakland. We're a community college in Oakland, California. We're part of a 4-college district, including Berkeley City College, Merritt College, College of Alameda, and Laney, where I'm from. I'm also going to be shared in our short presentation here by Kyla, which is an equal part of our data science certificate that we have and a Data 8 course, what we're calling Math 118 and CIS 118. Before I get into the spiel, I want to just thank Eric. We've probably been on this journey about 6 months, and I've been happy to see the progress. This is really a great thing. I was having a great conversation with the folks from the UC schools in our breakout room. I wish we had 5 more minutes listening to their really trouble spots and bringing this to fruition. And it's great to kind of have this community of practice. And really, I feel fortunate to be a part of this genesis of data science across really the state of California and really the state United States. So happy to be a part of this. Our college is a community college serving in Oakland, California, serving a diverse community. And our department, Computer Information Systems, where this certificate sits, is both a transfer department and also a CTE department, meaning Career Technical Education Department, where we need to be getting people jobs as well as facilitating transfer to 4-year universities. And so as we look at our certificate, it's a certificate of achievement, similar to what you just heard to El Camino College. But our focus is not as much on this first certificate on the transfer level courses, such as data structures and algorithms, but really on the foundational courses that are going to allow students to have the programming knowledge to get started with the Data 8 and the database knowledge, relational database knowledge, SQL knowledge for that we think is more applicable to immediate job placement. And so when we started this conversation in our college, myself, Kyla, and some other faculty members were thinking about intro to programming courses, Excel courses, database courses, and we're saying we needed a capstone course to help that we could say, hey, a student could take this course and then look for entry-level jobs in data science. And then after those conversations, Kyla identified this Data 8 course that Cal was looking to get for community colleges to adopt, and it kind of all just fell into place. And so for us, Data 8 at our college, our CIS 118 or Math 118 is not an entry-level course. We see it as in our college really as a second level course or capstone course on the verge of transfer. And so ultimately our certificate of achievement we see turning into a 2-year AA degree. But right now we're focusing on first filling these courses and getting this certificate off the ground before we go too fast with the AA degree. Our 118 course or Data 8 course has been approved at the state and we'll be offering it in the fall. Our certificate is approved locally, is going to be approved by our board, knock on wood, soon, and hopefully be ready to offer to students as class certificate that they could actually be a part of by the fall of this year. So we feel very happy about the timeline of getting things done and approved. As we look at the courses that are part of our major, we're kind of broke it into a few different blocks for this first certificate of achievement. The first thing we want to do is have programming courses. A lot of our students with the context or content of Data Science 8 from Cal, the students that we deal with, the idea of doing programming and statistics as the first course is just not realistic with the students that we serve. Many of whom may have never taken a college course, a computer science course or programming course prior to enrolling, let alone, any data science. So for us, we really want the students to be prepared with the programming knowledge required to really do the programming in an intentional way that Data 8 applies. One could start with Data 8 with the programming there, but with no programming experience, I think a student would really just be copying and pasting and hoping that it turned out the right way instead of really diving into the code in an effective way with an understanding of the programming concepts that Data 8 is trying to get around with the statistics as well. So for our certificate, one of the big things you'll notice is that it's interdisciplinary. We have our math faculty, our computer information system faculty, and our business faculty have all been interconnected on this effort, identifying the fact that first, to get our classes to fill, we will need lots of students to be a part of this, recognizing that data science is not just in the purview of computer science or math or business, but really all intertwined, and hoping to really grow our interdisciplinary efforts to more than just business, computer science, and math, to really broaden the scope of people that we hope to engage with and enroll in these data science courses. So as we look at where our certificate stands now, I think we're happy with our progress, but the thing that we really want to focus on is getting students to enroll, making sure students have the prerequisite skills to be able to succeed in the course, and to also open up our tent wider to make sure that we can broaden this effort to more than just the computer science, business, and math faculty. Kyla, what did I miss?
Well, I think you pretty much summed up kind of where, the genesis of our data science kind of program at Laney and what we wanted to highlight. And I just, want to add the process by which we've gone through to adopt the math our math 118, CIS 118. It took a little while. It was super helpful. So thank you so much to Katya, who shared her curriculum program with us that really helped expedite the process through our curriculum committee. So thank you so much. But it is helpful to have had, kind of other colleges pave the way so that we can, so we were able to kind of expedite our process, because we started I went to the workshop last summer. Yes, Katya is the best. I went to the Berkeley workshop last summer. We spent last fall going through the whole curriculum process, and our class was approved in January by the state, at the end of January 30th by the state. So super quick, and it was helpful because we were able to utilize a lot of what was already there. It's going to be the exact same course taught either in the CIS department or the math department. So it's cross-listed. So maybe, we're going to start out in math in the fall and see what enrollment looks like. And then, see what happens. Eventually it'll be, ideally it will be a course that's offered by both math and CIS. Either department will be able to teach the course. So
we're going to try to play nice. We're playing nice. That's the
we're
whole
playing
thing about,
nice. Yes.
That's the whole thing about this partnership is that we're finding out ways to, listening to the UC schools, heard some of there's conflict, and understandably so. Kyla has been a great colleague in this, so we're playing nice and sharing the future of data science.
Okay, so that's pretty much all we wanted to share. I don't know if I see that Laura has her hand up. I don't know if that's a question for.
Oh, yeah,
for
I just wonder, can I ask the question? Yeah, I just wonder, how is the math professor feel like they teach? Because I know your math 118 or CIS 118 is basic, is data 8, right? So how they feel like the Python programming for the math professor?
Well, I can speak as a math instructor who's auditing the class right now. You know, it's really helpful that the course is ready to go, locked and loaded. So I'm auditing the course right now, going through all of it, learning the, you know, it's been many years since I programmed, so it's definitely not something I'm comfortable with in my wheelhouse, but I'm getting there. So I feel like when I'm up to teach, you know, it'll be good. And with the support of this alliance and with Eric and the team, I feel like we'll be able to put.
Yeah, because we have the similar situations. I just wonder how you guys kind of really work with the math department, computer science department, and the business department. Just
Yeah,
want
and
to
I
learn from
know,
your
I mean, Eric,
experience.
you might want to speak about this, because I know that when Cal first offered the course, it was jointly taught by math and a math professor and a computer science professor. So that's also something that you can consider. You know, our plan is that there's 2 math instructors at Laney, and we both feel confident that we'll be able to teach the programming side of things. But at other colleges, there could be other options, right? You could do the joint teaching and have the course taught jointly. And just auditing the course, I see every week there's like somebody else who's who's up there, you know, delivering content. So I mean, it clearly works.
Yay. Awesome. All right. Well, that might be a natural segue to San Francisco, who also has a collaboration between math and computer science.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Katya, and I'm from the math department at City College of San Francisco. And I have to say that anything that we talk about with data science at City College, it can't just be me. It's me and lots of other people, most notably Sean Wiggins, who has like totally been my absolute partner through all of this. He's here. And anytime somebody says Katya is the best, my answer is nope, Sean is the best. So Sean's the best, really. So we have 2 different certificate and degree programs at City College. This whole journey started with a partnership between math and CS was already kind of churning something before we ever entered the scene. They had a certificate that was called Data Science Fundamentals, but with time it evolved into data analytics because with some discussions, we decided that data science was much more kind of mathy, and theirs was much more like hands-on, with the target audience being students who are interested in just picking up some tools and techniques and skills because they wanted to maybe improve their prospects in the workforce, and they just wanted to get it done. It's a 17-unit certificate of achievement, and before we developed Math 108, which is the Data 8 course that I'll speak to in a brief moment, they allowed it to be any statistics course. So when we developed Math 108, which is our Data 8 equivalent course, that took place of the like just generic statistics course requirement that they had there. So like I said, it's a 17-unit course. They take that Foundations of Data Science course, which is our Math 108. They take an introduction to databases, an introduction to Linux, programming fundamentals in Python, and then a course in data visualization. So one big achievement that I totally take credit for together with Sean is when we started this process, CS wasn't offering their data visualization course very often. They didn't see that they didn't see that it was worth prioritizing that. And through the last couple of years, we've arrived at an agreement that it's important to prioritize it, and they've committed to offering it every semester. So fingers crossed, that's going to be really great, because that data visualization course is also relevant to our data science associate's degree. Before we go on to the next slide, I should say that the data analytics fundamentals certificate does live in the computer science department, and as much as like we collaborate with them, I am not equipped to like answer super sophisticated questions about it. So I put the learning outcomes there, and I'm happy to direct anybody who wants to know more to our wonderful computer science chair, Jonathan Potter, who can certainly answer more questions than I can. But now we're moving on to our degree in the math department. We have launched the Data Science Associate's degree. In the future, we would hope that we can work together with everybody on this call to develop an associate's degree for transfer template. That of course takes some serious work. We need a transfer model curriculum. We need a lot more partnerships across the state. But for now, this is just a local associate's degree. I forget when we wrote it. It's all kind of a blur, but it officially launched this semester, spring of 2023. And I've already had at least 4 or 5 students writing to me wanting to declare it, even maybe a couple graduating with it this semester. So that's kind of exciting, and hopefully that momentum continues to build. Next slide. So the degree includes Math 108, so that's our Foundations of Data Science course. But Solomon was talking about kind of like comparing it to a CS degree and a math degree. The data science degree is very much like the blend of a math degree and a computer science degree. So it's a calculus-based degree. Students will be taking Calculus 1, Calculus 2, and linear algebra. Then they choose programming fundamentals in either Java or C++, data structures and algorithms, either Java or C++. And then one thing that we hope to grow significantly over the course of the next few years, as again, momentum builds, is this consortium of electives in various departments around our college that allows students to utilize their computing and data analytics and science skills that they learn in Math 108 in other disciplines. So currently what we did is we had consultations with other departments and asked, like, which ones of your courses do you think have a computational component to them? And just to kind of name a few, we've got, let's see, we've got an environmental science course in there as an option. We've got finance, a couple of finance courses there as options. We've got an astronomy course in there. So these are courses that the student can really select the ones that most speak to their interests. And hopefully, as time passes, we can build the computational aspects and really collaborate so that, like, maybe even working with Math 108 curriculum and Math 108 specific techniques to build projects and build activities into those other elective courses, so that students are actually like catering, like we're catering into those other courses to increase that computational component. So really hoping to continue this interdisciplinary spirit where this is benefiting departments all over the college. And we really wanted to stress that not all of the options in that electives list are even in the School of STEM. So we've got a sociology course in there, we've got a psychology course in there. So really it's designed to cater to students with a broad range of interests, not just students who are sort of like very, very narrowly only focused on STEM. We also have a recommendation for comm studies, interpersonal communications. So again, kind of that would focus, another facet of kind of learning data science. Let me see. Oh, one thing that I will add, based on some questions that folks were asking, and also on the way we structured the degree, Math 108 is the course that we recommend for students who are interested in pursuing this degree, but we did encourage, we do want students who maybe discover an interest in data science after they would have taken Math 108, and maybe they already took statistics. So in the degree, we say, like, if you already took statistics and you're interested in this degree, we encourage you to take our computer science fundamentals course, CS10, and that'll sort of get you ready for going down the degree path. And as we're teaching Math 108 right now, we have a weird kind of bifurcation of students. Some students are coming in with some experience with computer programming. Like, again, they're trying to like skill build and reskill in the workforce. And those students are building and doing really well and thriving. And then there are some students for whom the programming component is kind of scary. And so we're kind of debating or trying to come up with ways to support students. And one potential is maybe an advisory, this computer science fundamentals course, something like this. So it's definitely on our minds, that programming component, how to support students who have little experience and might be a little scared of it. I think that's everything about our degrees, but just listening to Laura's question a little earlier, one of the things that we were able to do, in no small part because Sean actually took Data 8 at UC Berkeley before we started this whole journey back in spring 2020, I think, is we've actually, and when I say we, I mean Sean, we're able to build out kind of a training protocol for faculty who are interested in teaching the course. So we were able to convince our college to carve out a tiny little bit of release time for Sean, and he acts as our department data science coordinator. And as part of his duties in that role, he works with other faculty who are interested in teaching Math 108 into like helping them overcome whatever gaps they may have in feeling comfortable in teaching it. And we're super excited because this semester we actually have a new faculty member teaching it for the first time. She's not a new faculty member, but she's new to teaching Math 108. So we've added to our faculty cohort. We're teaching 3 sections of Math 108, and we're getting pretty close to, if not over, 100 students. So that feels good, considering that we started this in, I think, fall of 21, we taught it for the first time, and I think we barely had 20 students. So it feels good that the cohort has grown and interest seems to be really healthy, and we look forward to the future and seeing how this will develop.
Yay, awesome. Thank you. Laura, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I just have a question for maybe for everyone and Katie. Thank you for talk about that question I have. I just wondered, Data 8, I'm not sure this still a big question. I know Data 8 doesn't have any programming prerequisite, but how about statistics? So not at all. So I just wonder how now Data 8 will have some conflict with our current statistic course or not. I just wonder this for our current statistic course.
Yeah, it's kind of, the vision is it's like an alternative statistics course where like instead of stats, you take Data 8. Instead of,
so we can, this one can kind of equivalent to statistic, because I'm not sure.
That's how it's kind of treated at Berkeley to some extent, yeah.
So so Sean has his hand up, but I just want to quickly say, like at our college, we've submitted Math 108 for CID Math 110. And this was not really a constraining factor for us because we already teach statistics in several departments, like we teach it in econ and in psychology. So, you know, folks didn't mind creating other stats courses for other reasons. So in the future, this could act as like an alternative to statistics for students who are interested in a more kind of programming oriented approach to it.
Sean, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I was just gonna mention, so this the 4th semester I've taught it, and every semester I've had students take both classes at the same time. And it's actually really cool because, in my opinion, the Data 8 class is kind of assuming a lot of like the descriptive statistics material, like mean, median, a lot of these things. In some little way, it's an assumption that they already know what these things are. But in our intro stats class, they talk about them more at the beginning. And then when we get to the inference, like the students are able to side by side see like these parametric and non-parametric ways of looking at inference. So they really like, at least the ones that I've seen take both at the same time. They're like, oh, cool, I'm answering the same question, but in two different ways. So I think they really complement each other.
That's
Right,
cool.
Sean, I think that's very good idea because I thinking about, I'm just not sure now. I think it's good for students learn statistics by using different tool because sometimes some statistics use the Excel or program R, but data A we use Python. So they kind of know those knowledge, but they can use different tool for that. But I just wonder student will feel like, oh, why I need to duplicate or not in the future. So that's a little concern for me. And also for our school, we have math statistic, we have business statistic. So how to kind of the new course, work with the others now.
Yeah, I could see really like I feel like also the probability component of data 8 is pretty weak for our students. So when they take them side by side, they get more of that probability conversation. And it might even like help us relieve some of the computer component of our stats class and let them focus more on the probability and some of these other topics and let the computer work happen in the data science class.
Nice. I'd love to bring Jens from Santa Barbara up here.
Yeah, thank you so much. Hi there. My name is Jens Kuhn. I'm at Santa Barbara City College, and I'm filling in for Natalie Goebbels today, who's usually joining you for these, and unfortunately had a prior commitment and couldn't make it. So just a couple of things real quick about also our associate's degree and the certificate that we've been able to get on the books this semester, actually. And a lot of this is very similar to what you just heard in the last three presentations, so I can probably go through this a little bit quicker because, like I said, there's a lot of overlap of what was just discussed. So again, we now have an associate's degree in data science, an associate of science in data science on the books. This is the first semester we've got that approved, and there is essentially 17 units worth of core courses that are required. So you'll see our CS 118 or Math 118. It's a cross-listed course for us. It's our data science for all, so the data 8 equivalent is certainly the core piece for that. But then also either an intermediate Python or theory and practice 2 course, and then the calc sequence in math, which is for us Math 150 and 160. And then in addition to that, there are 3 other courses that are required from a whole slew of potential options that the students can pick from. Some of these are listed here. There's also the link on the slide if you want to take a look at the whole list of options. But essentially, it's very similar to what you just heard from City College of San Francisco, right? That part of the idea here is to also branch out into the, what you might call the research methods type courses in sociology or psychology or communications, right? So all of those are potential options for the students to take. And again, part of the idea here is to use, well, one, to give the students these kinds of options that were just discussed, but also we're sort of trying to use this as a springboard to bring more get a broader reach for our data science efforts, right, and bring more students into the degree, the certificate, but also actually more faculty from other disciplines into this, right? So that's a little bit sort of a tangential piece to this that we're trying to get more more buy-in into this across different departments. And you can see that we've got some geography in there and things along those lines as well. Anyway, so that's our associate's degree. And then we've also got, if you could, I think the other piece is our certificate of achievement in data science, right? And so again, it looks very similar to what you've just seen, right? So we've got our data science for all course, and then oops, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one here. But yeah, anyway, so we've got the data science for all course, the Python or intermediate Python or theory and practice, version control with Git, and then the SQL course or an introduction to database systems, right? So those are our core courses. Takes you to, I think it's about 11.5 to 13.5 units, and then 3 courses from a very similar list of the ones that I was just going through, and that's about another I think 10, 12, or 14 units, depending on how you what you pick from that. Anyway, and so that's our certificate of achievement. Again, both of these we're offering for the first time now this semester. The Data Science for All course has been running since fall of 21, if I remember correctly. And we're currently running, again, it's a cross-list course. We're currently running 2 sections of it, and we could probably add a little bit more. So anyway, so that's a little bit of an update on that from our end. And we're very excited. We've got both of these on the books now, but again, you can see a lot of this looks very similar to what we just heard from the other institutions. So
we're seeing a pattern here. Except a whole class on Git. That is unique. Anybody else want to make some general comments about like looking across these? You know, it's been helpful, as people have mentioned, to be able to share these and look at each other's and see what each other have done and see what each other have gotten approved and see, you know, how people are fitting things together. I think this is sort of one of the things that we've been able to do for each other over the past couple of years. All right, well, Terry.
So, hi, we implemented at Palomar College in San Diego Data 8 a couple years ago. We're really getting some energy on it, but I did like the comments. We increased the math requirements because a junior college student is not as well prepared as a freshman at Berkeley. And I really liked the idea of taking 120 at the same time with Data 8. So we have more math and we recommend Python, and we're trying to put it at the back end like other people are doing. So I think those are all really good things. I just wanted to share that.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, and then this is just that hard thing that I feel like you can put hard requirements or you can put recommended skills, right? And there's always that person who's got all the hustle in the world that you don't want to like keep them out if they don't have exactly the class, but there's other people that aren't prepared that you want to tell them like you probably need, you know, to make sure you have this math or seen programming before. You know, you don't want to set people up.
Right. So we recommended Python, and the math requirement wasn't it was not our linear algebra, although that is in our degree. It was more like as long as there is a math requirement. So they see that they have to have some, they just can't come in as a freshman without at least intermediate algebra.
Yeah.
You know, so yes, so we used recommended, but made the required not everything I would love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sean, did you have another comment?
Yeah, comment, question. So like one thing else I'm noticing is like, you know, if a student has a lot of programming experience coming into the data equivalent course, they're fine. But it seems like those students that have just a little bit of program, like maybe one class, they seem almost in a worse place. I don't know if other people are experiencing this, where it's like, I've got like little simple commands that the data science library was set up to make easy, but then they try to like implement like a for loop way too soon and make it really complicated. So it's like they have some of these tools that they've learned and they're trying to apply them rather than just use the like easy setup tools available. I don't know if other people are experiencing that or have thoughts on that.
I've seen that, and I think it's, you know, basically because it's a paradigm shift, right? And their CS1, they're really procedural programming, and now they're, you know, using some functional programming techniques. So that makes it a little bit difficult for it. Yeah. I will give a plug for the AP Computer Science class, principles class at Berkeley, their CS10 class, which does introduce some kind of like topics outside of like procedural programming, functional, and other types of things that might be a little helpful with that.
Right on. Yeah, thanks for those replies. So that's why I kind of worry about advising too much programming and math because of like almost the course seems like set up to like not have that expectation. But like you said, like that CS10 class or whatever it's called, the kind of giving the exposure of like the programming language, but without getting too deep into methods or.
Katya, did you want to say something?
Yeah, so for like my community college crew, right? So all of us are kind of living in this post AB 705, now new AB 1705 reality. And so the language for our like prerequisites for math has changed a lot in the last few years. So all of our students now get placed and starting fall enrolled into transfer level math directly. So we're not going to have them, like, we're not going to be asking our students to take intermediate algebra before they take this class because we don't offer an intermediate algebra anymore. So the way that we were thinking about it is we put Math 108 at the lowest level of placement. So like the lowest level would be students who would be needing statistics with co-requisite support. And we made Math 108 open to those students. And the idea behind that, the spirit behind that was that we wanted to sort of open a STEM track for students who like maybe before wouldn't have traditionally been in a STEM track. So to increase diversity in those fields and to encourage folks to check it out. Even if maybe they wouldn't normally think of themselves as like people who would be doing that sort of checking out. So that was the spirit behind that. And so I too am a little reluctant to start putting more requirements on it. And like, I understand that we want to, I think for me, the emphasis is on how do we support students? Like, how do we see where those areas are where they need a little bit more support, and how do we support them rather than tacking on requirements and advisories? Because I don't want to slip down that path of again, decreasing the numbers of students who are willing to take that risk and willing to check it out, who maybe wouldn't have thought of themselves as people who go down that road before. So that was the spirit of our decision, to make it have no math prerequisites and for it to be completely open access.
Awesome, thank you. Super complicated. And I feel like there's always just going to be another assembly bill ready to change the goalposts. So we're in an interesting, confusing time to be a community college math instructor, where there's legislation about which classes can be offered. But yes, support is the key. However we can get the support there. I would like to move on to a couple of community colleges that are new to the group that wanted to talk about what they're doing in the data science space. If that's okay. We have Christina here. Christina.
Hi.
Hey.
Yes. Hello.
You're on.
Yes. Hello.
San Jose State University.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, San Jose State. Yeah, so thanks for giving me this opportunity to present what we're doing at San Jose State. We are doing a few things. So we have a master program, we have undergraduate program, and we also have some general education in data science. So I will go a little bit more in details about our master and BS in statistics later. But the general idea is that students could do a BS in statistics plus a minor in computer science, or a BS in computer science and a minor in statistics, to be prepared to then enroll in a master in data science. I will cover these new ideas later. For general education, this is really for whoever is not in math, doesn't do STEM. We probably never see math in their life again. We just give this math 10, which is really a general introduction. And we had some requests from actually the school to create this class, which was really challenging. I never taught it, and I'm very happy about it because it's very difficult. We have students from such a different background. Some have even issue with disequalities, and some are a little bit more advanced. So it's very difficult and challenging GE to teach. But of course, the students get into, they like it because it's applied. Data science is very interesting for students that to take a GE math. So that's what we do for general education. But I think we'll care a little bit more about the actual data science. So yeah, we can go to the next slide. I don't want to go too much in details because I guess it's very similar. We don't really, we don't have much computer science in this, as you may see, because it is actually a BS in statistics, in which we have the classic lower division math background, then some stats and probability theory, and where the students get a little bit more of data science is actually in the electives. They're actually, yes, they're required to have 2 programming courses, actually, from the CS department in lower division, and 2 upper division that we offer. So we try to teach them R, Python, and SQL. But we found that this is not probably, sometimes we want them to know all the languages, but they probably don't know any of them at the end. So when we actually had to teach them the more advanced courses, we try to stick with R so that they get at least professional in one language, because we found out that keep switching from one language to the other has not been helpful so far. So we require to learn all of them, to see all of them in one class, but then in the following elective, we try to stick with R. And those are some electives. Actually, we'll be happy to have more input on those because this BS is new. This is the first year we run it. So some of these electives actually, we haven't really even run them yet. So far, we have fundamental data science, which is very popular. It's like a little bit of multivariate analysis. We have linear data, linear algebra, optimization, and we were thinking to include the time series class, but that's subject to budget, which means we will never have the possibility probably to do it. And with this BS in statistics, the students can actually pick specific elective to be able to enroll directly in our master in data science, or can do master in statistics or other applied math if they wish so. And then next slide, please. We have our master in data science. So the master in data science is actually joined with computer science. This was a difficult effort. We work with 2 CS and 2 stats faculty to come together to find out which courses would be the best. Unfortunately, this effort wasn't possible for the statistics. I guess it's too difficult to make 2 departments work together. So while the master was possible, the undergraduate doesn't exist in the same way, but students from our university that take the appropriate elective can enroll directly in the master. Because basically to be able to build this master, we had to put a lot of prerequisites, I guess. The students have to have 1 year of programming, intro to stats, and probability theory. So what I've observed so far is that students that apply are sometimes more on the CS side. So they come and they have to take some extra stats classes. So that has been a challenge. And so this is the coursework, which is basically some undergraduate coursework, mathematical statistics, introduction to artificial intelligence and databases. And then we have more graduate level specific courses that, of course, I'm not going to go through all of them. So this has been run for 3 years, I believe now. We wanted 20 per year, and we have been able to get 20 per year. But then again, it takes a little bit over 2 years because they often come without all the prerequisites. We now have a new proposal that this will be really for a very few very good students that take our BS in stats or BS in computer science to finish actually in 4 years. And that will be the next slide, please. And basically what the school is now doing for this 4+1 program is to double count some elective for the undergraduate and the graduate program. So the blue are double counted. The pink one is double counted for stats student and the yellow for computer science students. I'm expecting very few, maybe 1 or 2 per year to be able to have such a workload and graduate on time. But that's our latest update at CSU.
Nice.
San Jose State. Yeah.
Thank you. Any questions? Lark, do you want to come up?
Sure. All right. Hello, everybody. I'm Clark Fitzgerald. I'm a assistant professor in mathematics and statistics department at Sacramento State. So I am a statistician. I graduated with a degree in statistics, and we have five of us among like 25 or so math faculty in a mixed math and stats department. Currently, what we have as far as data science is not much here on campus. We have a bachelor's in mathematics with an emphasis in statistics. We also have a minor in statistics, but no degrees or certificates or anything in data science. I will put on here the Data Fest we're going to host our first one April 14th here at Sacramento State. So if anyone wants to promote it, invite your students, they're totally welcome to come. I'm a little apprehensive about it, but excited as well. Should be fun. Anybody here done Data Fests? You have experience with them? Yeah, Eric, you have at Berkeley?
I haven't done it in Berkeley, but multiple people here have done them.
Okay, great. Yeah, this would be the crowd, right? So yeah. Yeah, so we're excited. Well, I'm working with Robin Donatello from Chico, and she's been super helpful with organizing everything, and she's got all her ducks in a row and helping us along. It's great. The big thing that we have going on is creating a new statistics bachelor's degree. So we don't have a bachelor's, and that's kind of where we've chosen to go as far as data science. It just seemed like the easiest and most direct option. So we are right now working on our major classes, and this has been a lot of fun to develop these classes and think about it from the perspective of like, what do we want our graduates to look like when they get out of here? And so we're thinking a lot about how can we make these classes where they're doing projects and come out with kind of a portfolio of work demonstrating their skills in data science. And we'll have similar emphases as was discussed before at UCSC, the emphases in data science and mathematical statistics. So pretty much the same thing. We submitted our proposal to the Board of Trustees in the fall. So we're waiting to hear from them. It's off in the void, but I guess we'll hear in March next month. Optimistically, we could start as soon as fall 2024 with our first cohort, but probably it'll be fall 2025. Other stuff we have going on is a Berkeley Data 6, Data 8 style course, but hearing you all talk about the community colleges, maybe like even a prerequisite course to that would be kind of something that we'd like to do for just for all majors, kind of inclusive, getting people as an alternative to kind of our Stats 1 intro to stats type thing. So we have some funding to do that through a DHSI or HSI grant, and working on that. So that'll be coming up in a couple of years. With regards to that, if there are any community colleges here in the Sacramento area or Central Valley, I'd love to talk to you or connect. I got my email on there as far as like collaborating and working with courses and connecting, getting people to come here and meet the Data Science Club. We have a very active student club, and we do some cool stuff here. That would be nice to meet some students and have a pipeline. Thank you.
Nice. Thanks, Clark. So is this the thing that stats now has like regular stats and data science as a flavor of, is that the moment that we're in?
Yeah, I don't know. This is like just it was like the obvious kind of choice or place to go for us, I think. Yeah. Since we're making a new stats degree, it's like that's where we're going. And I don't know. It's also a little bit of a competition between like computer science, like we want to get there first, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I wish we could collaborate better.
Well, while we're on CSU, does anybody who doesn't have a slide want to say, like, Chico, Pomona, anybody want to just extemporaneously? Who else is here from CSU?
I'm not from CSU, but does anybody know what's going on at San Francisco State?
I'm here. I'm from San Francisco State.
Hi.
Hi.
We're neighbors. What are you guys doing with data science?
Wow. Okay. I'm put on the spot. We actually
Sorry.
have started our master's program, degree granting program in data science last semester. This is the second semester. We have admitted around 15 master students right now. At the undergraduate level, we have a certificate program, which has been running for the past, I would say maybe 2 years now. And that one with the focal area in biotechnology. So we basically invite researchers, practitioners from Genentech. They're actually part of the, I would say, part of the teaching, instructing team. So that those are the 2 programs. One is at the master's level, one at the undergrad level. And then in terms of university-wide, we actually have 2 other data science programs, one in statistics. That one started 1.5 years ago. That one is called statistical data science. And then in the School of Business, they started their business analytics, but in many ways overlap with the statistical data science and our master's program in data science and artificial intelligence. Actually, our full name is master's program in data science and artificial intelligence. So the School of Business overlaps with our program a little bit from the application perspective. So that will be at the high level what's going on here.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else from CSU want to pop in? Nahid.
Right. So thank you so much, everyone, for presenting your proposals. I have a suggestion. Is that like the people like in the past they bring in their proposals and say that this is what we plan to propose or we have already proposed, but then we don't know what's going to happen to it. So whether like it was approved, the structure they created was approved, is like acceptable for the Board of Trustees, and it would be great if you could for the next meetings like invite those people who got approval, got feedback, then so we can use those feedbacks when we are working on developing our programs. Just a suggestion. Thank you.
Right. It's not just what's been proposed, but what's been
right.
approved and been successful.
Yeah,
there.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Okay. Anybody else from CSU want to pop in? You're good. We're good. I think this is really interesting stuff. I think potentially what we're going to need to work on next is this transfer model curriculum and ADT. And those are like, it's still too new. There's not enough CSUs with a clear stats major to write this towards, but potentially this is what we will be doing, a year from now and another year from now, is like the TMC and the ADT in this area as these grow. And we've been learning to get ourselves to this place, and we're like well positioned to keep paying attention and to keep being part of this conversation. I'm gonna try and pivot to the UC angle about this transfer pathway that we have been talking about last summer and then in the fall. So how to summarize all this up, but we're talking about this set of classes. This set of classes would be a certificate or an associate's degree. At the UC level, there's another thing that's called a transfer pathway that's different than an associate's degree. And so there's one for computer science, there's one for many other majors. So what we had done last fall, was say, what are the classes in the pathway? What are the classes that you would need to take lower div at community college to be able to segue into a data science major? This led to this sort of matrix. So San Diego and the Berkeley are the ones with like large undergrad data science majors in the hundreds of students that are gonna like be this pipeline. Some of the other ones are smaller and sort of like either in the stats department or the information school or the computer science. So it isn't like all of the UCs have a giant data science major. So that's kind of a little bit limiting saying what a transfer pathway is. Like if you go to chemistry or sociology, like everybody has a chemistry and a sociology major that's relatively similar. So because this is evolving, it's a little bit, and then as you can see, most everybody's got like 2 semesters of calculus, CS1, CS2, linear algebra. Like we can generally agree on those. How much, that becomes what is a transfer model curriculum. So let me just go back to be like, yeah, here's how this happened. So I wrote a draft up, I circulated it with, some of the major people are on this call. Justin, as a partner, like said what you need to do at San Diego to graduate, and got sign off from other people. I probably sorry. So we workshopped this in the fall, circulated to other UCs, got people to say how this aligns with their program. And then there's an academic senate of the UC committee on transfer issues. And so I workshopped this with them there, and they were like, okay, excited to take this on and like approve this. And then with those people from the academic senate of the UC committee, I'm going to the regents in next month to sort of like show this at the regents meeting. So hopefully I will loop back to you, and be like, can we sort of like sign off on this? Right now it's in draft form, but could we sign off on this, and could the academic senate, system-wide academic senate, like get ready to post this on the UCOP website? It's not binding. It's not like an ADT, right? An ADT is like a guaranteed admission to a CSU, and is like, if you do this, you get in, right? And so the transfer pathway is like more flexibly sort of indicating what you would need to do. I feel okay about that. I'm like, there's not a data science major everywhere. The data science majors are slightly different everywhere. Maybe this is a place for this thing that's slightly more flexible and not like a guaranteed admission pathway. There is definitely a lot about counting units, right? And this is a big thing now. I think Judith put in the chat, assembly bill. I forget. I'm so bad at remembering my numbers. Katya and Judith, I have learned to like have my AB numbers on, on the top of my head. They become a soup for me. But anyways, for the education of the greater group. You know, me, I'm like a junior partner here. I'm just learning as we go. But like, the idea is that at the CSU level, there's iGETSE, and the ICAS, which has already been mentioned, this like AB 928 has created an intersegmental working group to create common pathways and to start to build what's CalGETSE, which is now getting approved. So a common set of GEs for transferring to Cal, and they're working on that overlap between the CSU and the CalGETSE. So you could be like doing your GEs both at the same time. There's a very much like counting units. There needs to be a certain number of units, right? And I think right now CalGETSE is 34 units and an ADT is 60 units. So you could do it in 2 years. And so that leaves like 25 units for what's not GE, which in this world is called major prep. So this transfer pathway that we're talking about is the major prep. If it's an ADT for X, it would be like, what are the major classes? So there's a finesse here. Oh my gosh. So there's a finesse here where we need to come up with which of these classes could fit into like a 25 units that would allow you. And then, you know, there's then where like, if you got to San Diego or Berkeley, could you finish the next 2 years in 60 units? I guess 60 units at Berkeley, and it's probably 75 at San Diego, or however the quarter to semester, you know, transference goes. You know, that's what something like when I talked with Justin about it 6 months ago, it was like, all right, you need to have this much if you want to start the sequence the semester you get here and finish 2 years later, right? Which AB 928 and the ICAS are about having like, you know, a pathway that makes it possible to do 2 years community college and 2 years UC and graduate. If you're like, this is a whole, you know, world of things to get into, and I'm just sort of like summarizing my knowledge of it as I've learned from Judith and Katya over the last 2 years, and as I'm, you know, learning with the academic senate of the UC Transfer Issues Committee as they relate to ICAS. There's this transfer committee that's been meeting. They have a final report. The academic senate of the UC has like their final report about CalGETSE getting approved. And then there's basically like an existing system from CSU for building ADTs. No, these are just like a few links that I put up. That's like how, you know, these things are sort of moving and together. So I just want to summarize that and be like, I'll be looping back to UC partners to see if we can, you know, sign off on something like this. You know, as this transfer pathway, it's okay to be like, recommends Python or recommends discrete, you know, like you can also just say like Campus X recommends it. In the transfer pathway, it's more flexible. Probably, as I mentioned, ADT and like making it officially, you know, an ADT version of this will be like a longer process for another time. But as AB 928, like the pressure's on. People are knocking at the door and saying, hey, UC, you need to accept more transfers people, and you got to make it more logical and easier and less confusing, right? That's the pressure of the state assembly right now. But I guess I'm like moderately heartened by seeing our community college colleagues putting together their associates and certificates that basically could line up with these. Maybe they don't line up in terms of like, you know, 2 years of calculus and linear algebra, but, you know, 2 semesters of calculus and 1 of linear algebra, but it's not that far away, you know, so, or it's going to overlap with a certificate. I guess we're certainly going back to this conversation, and we're never going to be able to, about how much math you need. probably one of the only ADTs for data science that we know of is Iona's, who's here at CSU East Bay. I think Iona's here. So that's one of the only ones that's been started so far. Yeah, so that's for me. I'll be looping back to people, offline or whatever via email about getting this approved. I'll be going to the regents in a couple of weeks to talk about this for the UCOP. And, potentially this is something that we continue to work on for the next couple of years. Anybody have comments or want to give feedback on that? Am I in the right ballpark, Judith?
I mean, I think so.
Did I get anything wrong?
So, I mean, I guess the big question will be, well, how soon will there actually be traction for the actual ADTs, the true transfer model curriculums? Because AB 928 is requiring, like, they basically want all community college students to graduate with an associate's.
Yeah.
So.
And that's 25 or something?
I think it's 25. And then, yeah. So, but I think the approach of starting to look at what's already being done as a good taking control of it now is better than waiting for other people to make decisions for you. Because we keep trying to get the math one changed and it hasn't yet been changed and it's horrific. And so, yeah, but so I think that's good. It's nice you all are not, I mean, you're involved in the legislation, but you don't get your curriculum legislated in the same way we do. So you have more freedom than the community colleges and the CSUs.
Well, I don't know if you all have heard, but there's this assembly bill right now about UCLA that if they don't start accepting more transfer students, they're going to get funding clawed back. It was in the LA Times, I think, on Tuesday or Wednesday this week.
So this is just as a plea from the CSUs. We are building these programs, but the UCs are growing their programs maybe at a rate that is unreasonable for the size of their campuses and the amount of housing they have available. And it's taking students away from the CSUs. And with the demographic.
And the CSUs suffering an enrollment decline.
We're suffering an enrollment while you're all growing. And so I'm wondering, like, I know we can't make the changes that the money is involved, FT is involved, but I would love for us to consider what is the best for all for our students. Like, I want all students, I want every student to finish in 4 years so they are not here forever in eternity in college. But is it best for all students to go directly into a 4-year school? Is it financially? And when I say that, I mean like financially best, also the amount of support they can be provided in a classroom of 1,000 versus a classroom of 30. These are things that should be considered and contemplated by all of us. And so we grab for the dwindling number of 18-year-olds in the state of California.
I think we're grabbing for 20-year-olds.
Well, yes, both 20 and 18, but it's 18 and 20-year-olds.
Yeah,
both.
Yeah.
So, because community colleges are also seeing a decline in enrollment.
Yeah.
And so we want to, I don't know. We don't have the solutions here, but I'll just say, as you're growing your programs, consider that there are CSUs that you could potentially recommend students to apply to that could be great feeders for your programs and might be better for that student. So
our program's about to shrink. That's a whole different topic. Like a whole different thing that I'm not going to get into. But
okay.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I guess what I'm here for is them saying, like, we need to make this more logical and more like predictable and understandable for community college students. Like, there needs to be not hard to transfer because it's confusing. That's like one critique. I'm totally here for, like, we can handle that. And we're just like, in place to make clear guidelines of, there's this cool new thing, you should study it, it's awesome, here's some ways into it. And yeah, so like advising and knowing about this, you have the worry. I guess I would also loop back to where Katya was like, we got 100 people in these classes now, but I think we were in a meeting like this 2 years ago where Katya was like, I did all this work to list data 8 and nobody's taken the class, right? So it does take a little while to like fill up and that people know this is the thing. And I would like, make that analogy about an individual class and sort of like an area of study. And that community college students know that this is like a pathway that they can go to. Erin says, is there a matrix for CSU programs? Build it.
Yeah, we can build it. So data science.
Oh, sorry, I should stop sharing.
I was just gonna say, I'm not sure if there's as many data science majors, but we do have statistics majors and data science programs in different ways that we could probably build out a similar matrix form. But I know for a lot of us, we try to build it around the math ASTs in some capacity, but it's not. Again, the math AST is challenging in its own way, but.
Yeah, definitely we want to keep building this as like there are maybe a few data science at CSUs, a larger number of stats majors at CSUs. Definitely want to like keep building that matrix. And it's going to be a little fiddly, the ADT mapping as well. As we've mentioned, some are in CS and some are in stats, and they're going to have slightly different prereqs. Anybody else want to jump up? Anybody not talk yet? Any students in the back? I need to like, who's falling asleep over there? I need to run like a Kahoot where it gets you all to wake up, or a quiz or something. All right, I will wrap up then. I don't have a quiz ready to go, but I should build my quiz, my poll everywhere quiz ahead of time. I'm going to say I'll share some information after I go to Regents to wrap up my thing. The slide decks and recording will be on the website if you want to share this with other folks. If anybody wants to reach back about planning for national workshop panels, I might write to a couple people. So please let me know if you're interested in that or have ideas about that. And you community college and CSU people that are interested, send it to your friends and send them, it'll be in Berkeley and it will be online. All of it will be like online as well. So if people want to join from remote or just for like a single session. And we will probably loop back to subgroups of you. Like I think the chat's full of about 10 people saying, let's have a community college instructors meeting about 108. And maybe we can loop back about CSU. We had a meeting with Frank and talking about grant proposals last year. We could maybe loop back to that group. That was the spring meeting last year. So maybe there's like segmental meetings become the spring meeting between now and summer. Thanks, everybody. Good to see you. Thanks to Dayawanti and Ksenia for planning and making this meeting happen.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank
Thanks, everybody.
Have a great weekend.
Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Hey, we did it.